In a world full of powerful assassins and people that don't genuinely have powers, Kei Uzuki is one of the most confusing in the series when it comes to his abilities, especially when it comes to what we believe of Sakamoto Days and how the power system works, as it is very strong characters that have mostly realistic abilities in how they do things. Of course, there are some moments where Sakamoto throws a helicopter or Shin can read minds, but overall, people assume that these things are very realistic in how things work. But this is Sakamoto Days, and being realistic isn't completely the case with this series. And so when people say that this series is very realistic, how realistic is it really? Because in comparison to other shonen manga, especially of this assassin role, it is very much the same, in which they use a lot of fictional elements in order for them to have combat. Sakamoto, for example, is someone that is very strong and has a lot of combat ability in comparison to everyone else, as he can use things around him to make himself very special in this case and make himself be able to fight off these assassins. Takamura is stated to be one of the strongest assassins, and honestly, if it wasn't for Prime Sakamoto, it would be the strongest, and he doesn't really have that much combat technique in comparison to Sakamoto, which is why he's very terrifying in his combat abilities and makes himself a sincere threat for most of the series that we see him in. But when it comes to these other assassins, like Shin for example, that I talked about in the previous video, his abilities are special as it is more supernatural than natural. Shin and Uzuki are very connected in the symbolism of the two characters, as I also went over that previously, and this goes over to their abilities as well. Kei Uzuki is the leader of the Slur, someone who was hurt at a very young age by the leader of the JAA at the time, and has had a very terrible life and upbringing throughout it because his morality and standpoint of what he's supposed to do was changed throughout his entire life. This is why he was forced to become an assassin to begin with, because he thought the best way to protect his friends from back home is by doing the dirty work that the JA leader had set up. After all, Suzuki was failed and made to become a weapon because the JA leader saw something in him. And after all, that's his special ability that he has that he saw within Uzuki. You see, Uzuki is one of the more special abilities within this series, as it's not really explained to us thoroughly, it's more thought out. Now, while we do know the main reasoning for his power-ups, we don't really know how they exactly work. We do know how he unlocks it, but we don't know why it works the way it does and why it makes him so special. You see, in the JCC Infiltration arc, we learned something special about Uzuki's abilities, and that's that he has a dual personality disorder, so much so that he becomes a different person entirely. You see, Uzuki was still Uzuki, but after the death of a cow, he gained a new personality, and that personality was a cow. Completely a cow. From the eyes, from the way she talked, this is a cow. This is all of a cow's abilities. This is a cow's memories. This was everything of a cow. This is just a slight glimpse of what he's able to do. And of course, we didn't see him use these abilities, but it is definitely there that a cow, or Rion, a cow specifically, everything that she has, it is within Uzuki. So this special dual personality disorder is to him and him alone, and him being able to become the perfect copy in this case is insane because of the way he's able to adapt and grow and become something insane in the assassin world. That is why he became such a threat to begin with. Not only this, but he already outpaced the cow in their first fight, since he was able to kill her without realizing it was a cow. So he already has abilities that is rivaling Sakamoto and Nagumo, since the three of them were rivals. And of course, Sakamoto was by far better than Nagumo and a cow, but the fact that Uzuki was able to defeat a cow in this one fight shows that he is not only stronger than a cow, but has more skill than her as well. And with the cow personality, it is hard to fight against him because you're fighting against two people at the same time. You see, we know that he is weaker than Sakamoto, at least Uzuki's base form, as the Sakamoto defeated Uzuki and practically killed him on the floor. Unfortunately, he didn't know that Uzuki had something special within him. You see, Uzuki survived the fight because his heart was in the opposite side of his body. And so this not only happens here, but it also happens when Nagumo stabs him from the back and surprises him in order for him to kill Uzuki. Uzuki's heart is in the opposite direction of where it's supposed to be. This could be a reason why he's the way he is, and is the reason why he can do multiple personalities and make himself as a different person entirely. That is another reason why he's hard to kill, because you don't really know that until you see that multiple times or he explains that to you. That's why you can't really surprise attack him, because even if you do and you hit the wrong side, it doesn't matter. He's gonna stay alive. It's gonna be like a stab wound that just hit the part of your body that, yes, is gonna hurt, but it's not gonna kill you. But he also seems to have insane regenerative abilities, because he's able to recover from the stab very, very quickly, because he was able to defend himself against Takamura in this case and not die from that instance, which means his body is able to recover from any stab wound way quicker than anybody would have suspected. Of course, he didn't really fight Takamura, since Takamura fought Sakamoto and Nagumo, but the fact that he was able to run away and escape without much difficulty shows that his endurance and regenerative ability is higher than suspected, and is higher than most in this series. That is why he's such a threat, because not only can he have multiple personalities, but he also is able to have a high regenerative ability, and his heart is in the opposite side of his body. Now, this would have been a threat, just this by itself. But here's the thing. In this arc, in the museum arc that I am specifying, where Takamura fights Nagumo and Sakamoto, Takamura kills Gaku. Gaku is someone close to Nagumo, and this is when he unlocks something special. He not only kills Takamura, but gains his personality, becoming one of the strongest assassins in this world, number 2 behind Prime Sakamoto. So at the moment right now, Uzuki is the strongest in the verse, because Sakamoto got old and Uzuki took Takamura's abilities. So not only is he a cow, not only is he Uzuki, but he's also Takamura in the flip of a switch. A snap of his fingers and he's immediately switched from one person to another. This is what makes him terrifying, because while you might fight a cow at first, you then have to fight Uzuki, and then you have to fight Takamura, and then you have to fight Uzuki again. That situation is crazy. Now, luckily for the Sakamoto group, a cow doesn't really seem to fight. The reason that Sakamoto has a bounty on his head is because she set the bounty on his head. The reason for this is to kill Uzuki and get rid of him from making this mess to begin with. You see, Uzuki's utopia is one that's very negative, one that shows that humanity has the right to kill, and one that is not good to begin with. That is why this world would be one that humanity can't survive, and that is honestly a good thing in Uzuki's head, but in reality it's not. And he is ruining Rion's perspective of being an assassin in this world, and is ruining the world that she wanted, which is why we question why he's doing the things he's doing. He is a broken character, and that's why he's doing it, because he believes it's for the best of humanity. He believes that the pain of others is truly what is meant to be in order for the world to recover. But that doesn't need to be stated in here. After all, this is just an analysis over his abilities. He has high regenerative abilities, as he's able to heal from wounds. He has his heart in the opposite side of his body. And lastly, he's able to have personalities of people close to him, or people he needs to have in a certain situation, as he's taken Rion and Takamura, making him a huge threat for the series. And that is Kei Uzuki's special abilities.